Welcome back to SwitchCorner. Today we're going to be taking a look at Falcon Age on the Nintendo Switch. This is a VR game that's basically gone flat screen mode, but can it now deliver a memorable experience? Well, was VR the only trick up this one's sleeve? Well, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So first up, story and opening, you'll find yourself in jail on a dying colony planet. Here the culture has been destroyed, resources depleted, and you've somehow ended up in jail because of something the game doesn't really go into too much detail about, but it seems that it wasn't jail worthy. Jail though, the dying planet, this is all the fault of a corporation known as the Outer Ring. Now in these opening moments the game sets the scene. You befriend a falcon, and following just like a few small tutorial moments, you escape, and now it's down to the two of you to save this world. Story, I'd say it's okay. Writing, it sits somewhere between average while occasionally slipping into the laughable. It does some small bits here and there, but rarely it kind of doesn't break free of, hey, nice to meet you, I'm the good guy and I'm the bad guy. Where it struggles is creating characters that are edgy, like one character adamant they won't help you in the latter half of the game, but then follows this sentence with, this is exactly where the item is that you need. You should also probably speak to this person for a few upgrades too, but just to remind you, we won't help you. It wants to show a disbalance within the world and community in these moments, but it struggles to find any other way to give you the information you need, so yeah, it kind of contradicts itself quite a bit. A story like nothing special, and the best character here, the wordless one, the Falcon, who ends up somehow having by far the most personality. Alright, so Falcon Age is a first-person adventure experience. Controls, simple enough. Navigate with the left stick, attack with a baton with the said R trigger, a whip attack with the said trigger, that kind of like pulls switches or enemies towards you or into the ground, and then yeah, the rest is pretty much down to the Falcon. These Falcon commands, they include targeting an attack, holding out your arm so it can like perch on you, collecting items, and then an option to interact with the Falcon. So yeah, you can actually fist bump a Falcon here, but that's really kind of all the controls. Rounding out gameplay then though, you can also cook up food at stations, which adds like, buffers and health to the Falcon. You can save the game at water points, you can shop, and then you can interact with some like light resource management. Falcon Age gives you nearly everything outside of upgrades in the opening moments of the game, and it does very little to push beyond that as you progress. Also, I gotta say, a lot of the VR restrictions, you can't duck, you can't jump. If there's a small boulder or something, you can't climb it. You can't even drop off the side of like a small ramp you may be walking down. They could have done with optimizing this just a tiny bit more for the controller variation, just to give you a little bit more, freedom in what you're doing. The whole game here, it's set in like a small sandbox, but these restrictions make it feel even more linear, and to be honest, it's a really linear experience already. The main game goes like this: get quest, move to point of interest, fight enemy or collect item, backtrack all the way to quest giver again, and repeat. This would be fine if there was like a ton of enemies to face or locations to, explore and take down, but there really isn't that much off the top of my head. All the locations are pretty similar, and there's maybe like 5 enemies, a spider one, a walking one, a flying one, a heavy, and then some turrets. I think there might be 1 or 2 more that I'm missing right now, but really the only difference towards the end game, they get a few new skills and buffers, and they actually change color. There is, I will say, the occasional bit of wildlife, but rarely would I consider them like enemies. I think maybe 1 attacked me. The main problem with all of these enemies, it's always nearly the same like process to taking them down. Whip the enemy to stun them, or maybe pull them into the ground if they're flying. Call in the Falcon reveals their weakness, and then hit them over and over. Boom, job done. No targeting system here either, so when I say swing at them, you just kind of spam that trigger while your character flails around like an idiot. Finally, let's talk performance, and it is rocky with drops in frame rate when things get, busy, especially as you traverse the world, or let's say see an overwhelming number of enemies, or like an open vista. I found drops here, they averaged around the 24-25 frames per second mark, but occasionally it did hit as low as 20. Not frequent, let me be clear about that, but still often enough that you're pretty much going to see it in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game, and you'll be seeing it the whole way through. Overall, I can see where the great game is here, but that's when I look at it as like its true VR experience. The only real true enjoyment I found on console, the Falcon itself. You name this bird, they do a great job of establishing this bond, and even as repetition kicked in for me through this 4-hour experience, I couldn't help but want to push forward to see the fate of my Falcon and then play with some of the upgrades, because they come in some like great dress up pieces and cosmetics. I just wish they had put more time into this version across the board with a more comprehensive like control scheme, just giving you that like extra bit of freedom. It's not bad, but it's also not great either. So graphically speaking, I actually quite like the style. It's going for that low detail cartoon like style that I'm gonna say it. Think like Firewatch. It's somewhere between cartoony, cel shaded, and then super vibrant, and it captures the desert vibe perfectly. While it is a repetitive landscape, I do think they do well to add some variety with different structures and outposts. It all just kind of makes sense together. The only issue on the landscape front, there is some minor pop-in. Shadows actually appearing towards the top of screen ahead of you as you know you're moving forward. Then there's also these jarring colour changes that just kind of pop in from nowhere when you might move into a new area. Character design around the world, then quests, all that good stuff, they look good, but they lack any sort of animation. They just stand in one place for the entire game. For example, at the beginning you'll meet a guy who's trying to punch his way through a wall to get access to a location. You actually use a bomb, you blow up like a hole in the wall next to him, but still for the rest of the game he stands there punching that same wall. None of the NPCs actually move at all, they stick to that one place and that is about it. It all kind of leads to the game feeling a little lifeless. Enemy design then repetitive, but it's better, and they each have their own like unique style and animations you will need to learn. The winner again though, your Falcon. Animation is incredible with the movement, and there's just so much personality oozing from this bird. It's more than all the other characters combined. I liked the visuals, I just wish it had more going on. It feels like they have the world, now let's see about filling it. Audio then, and it does what it needs to. Attack sound decent, even if a little repetitive, and then of course expect like your squawks and stuff like, you know, from your Falcon counterpart. Apart from that though, there's not a huge amount here honestly, some very minor environmental sounds, and again the Falcon is stealing the show. It also then does have a 27 like track soundtrack that's not bad at all. I wouldn't listen to it offline, but it is available on Spotify if you want to check it out, but it for sure sets the tone for the encounters you'll find yourself facing. So overall, Falcon Age is a game I really wanted to like, but on the Switch I've got to say, struggling. Can see the incredible experience that this would be in VR, and I actually have every intention of trying it out, I think the way it's intended to be. On like console with a controller in hand, it's repetitive and simplistic, and you're doing little more than walking to a quest, sending your bird out, attacking, and then backtracking. The world is lifeless, the enemies limited, the VR restrictions just immediately noticeable. The saving element for this one, your Falcon, the Falcon is awesome with a ton of personality, really does deserve to be in the title. Even with the repetition and that short runtime, I wanted to see our Falcon's future, but I also wanted to experiment with all those items I could attach and the perks it would receive. Today I'm going to be giving Falcon Age an average 5 out of 10 for all the areas where it's lacking. Still found some entertaining moments. I also see though all the missed potential, and let's face it, it probably needed a little bit more time to piece it together for a more traditional experience outside of VR. If anything, it feels like the start of a good idea, but it never really gets going. So with that then, like a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Truly is appreciated and it helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then look, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.